Will you behave while I do my homework? Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to take a moment to address something that needs a lot more attention on BookTube, and that is the lack of support that is being given to Native and Indigenous booktubers. Brody from Elle.K Brody actually made a video on this yesterday, because you guys will be getting this video tomorrow, which is Saturday. So Brody made the video on Friday, which I will link in the description box down below because I think it's extremely important and very impactful. Brody outlines their experience on BookTube and as being a native booktuber, and honestly I learned so much, and I am so ashamed to say that I really didn't realize that this was a problem, and that's very lackluster on my part, and I acknowledge that, and I'm taking full responsibility for that. And I would highly encourage you guys to go and seek out and learn about the struggles that Native and Indigenous people are going through and how you can best support and be allies for them as well. I want to stress that you cannot be an ally for one minority and disregard all of the rest. That is not how allyship works. Especially for the people who want to preach we're all in this together, then we actually all need to be in this together. So please, if you are unaware or uneducated on this issue at all, take the time to educate yourself. Like I said, I will leave Brody's video link in the description box down below. Go and watch it and further your education from there. So that's what I have to say on that for right now. For today's video, I'm finally getting to part 2 of my Meet My Pet series. Today you guys are gonna meet my American bully, Conan. This video took me forever to film because I could not get the camera and lighting set up, and then I just decided to do it outside, so that portion of the video will be outside. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. If you hear my Great Dane whining or crying, she's not hurt, dying, or anything, but she's absolutely fine. She's just dramatic, but here on this channel, we deal with it. Because I'm filming this intro after I already filmed Conan's part, I can tell you, you do hear her quite a bit during the video, and I apologize for that, but like I said, we deal with it on this channel. So without further ado, enjoy meeting my American bully. I'm pretty sure that you guys can see him. So hello, I decided to do this portion of the video outside because it's a beautiful day and Conan actually loves being outside. This is like his favorite thing to do right here, is to sit on the deck with me. Sarabi is having a serious case of FOMO right now, but I promise she will survive. So we're gonna start this off. I took there's a bunch of different pet tag questions in my last, or part 1 of this video I did with Arizona. I took the pet tag questions this time. I tweaked them a little bit and added and rearranged some of them just to make it a little bit different. So with that being said, we're gonna start. The first question is, what's your pet's name? Obviously this is Conan. His full name is Conan the Barbarian, and his nickname is literally any and everything. Like, I call this dog so many things. I call him Fat Pig, call him Baby Boy. There's another name that I call him that I can't say on YouTube. But yeah, I think probably the most common nickname I have for him is Fat Pig. So yeah, his nickname Fat Pig. How did I come up with his name? It was actually, I was stuck between names for him. It was between Conan and Kong, and my mom actually suggested Conan the Barbarian, and I love that. So it's Conan spelt with a K, and then obviously his full name is Conan the Barbarian, and it suits him perfectly. This is the perfect name for this dog, I swear. The next question is, how old is he? Conan is 1 year old. He just turned 1 in March. His birthday is actually 2 weeks after Arizona's, which is super cute. I got them around the same time, just 3 years apart, and I love that. It's like, I don't know, end of February, I got them around the same time, but what I should have said is they're born around the same time. And I love getting dogs that are born like mid-February, early March, because then they're ready in the springtime and you can start potty training in the springtime opposed to the winter. Obviously, if you live in a place where it's warm all the time, it doesn't matter, but if you are Canadian, you will know that potty training a dog in the winter time sucks. So yeah, that was a rant for no reason. How old? What breed is he? So Conan is an American bully. He is not a pit bull. This gets confused a lot, and I understand because he does have a pit bull face, But he is an American Bully, and I have the paperwork and all that stuff to prove he's an American Bully. I actually live in an area where pit bulls are banned, so there's like not a chance under the sun that he could be a pit bull. Mind you, I have nothing against, are you drooling right now? That's attractive. I have nothing against pit bulls. I think they're really, really cool dogs, and I would love to own one. It's just unfortunate that we have really, really horrible people in the world that give them a bad rap. So that being said, he is an American Bully. I'll probably put a picture comparison of the two somewhere on the screen because they look very similar, but they are different breeds. So yeah, how did I get him? I got Conan from a reputable breeder. I actually found him through a friend from high school. She posted a picture with an American Bully. Let me backtrack. I didn't even know about this breed until maybe like say 5 months before I decided to purchase this breed. So I was doing research on the breed, and I saw a picture of a girl that I went to high school with, and she had an American Bully. So I reached out to her to ask where she got him from, and it turns out that she got hers from a breeder that was pretty close to where I live. So I reached out to that breeder, and one thing led to another. I got Conan. I will do a separate video if you guys are interested about my experience dealing with a bully breeder. Yeah, that's gonna be a whole separate thing. Spoiler alert, it started off great, definitely didn't end great, but it's fine because I got an amazing dog out of it. But yeah, I got him through a breeder. That's pretty much all I can really say about that. And how did I decide on the breed? So this is a little bit of a not tricky question, but kind of another spiel. I knew I wanted a second dog, and I was going through breeds. I love dogs that look kind of unique and a little bit scary, if you will. I don't know why, I like that look. And I came across American Bullies at a pet expo. Actually, I went there to get stuff for Arizona, and I saw an American Bully there, and I immediately fell in love with the look of the dog, and I started doing research on them. I realized that they are a very, very expensive dog to purchase. Conan is, I guess, what you would call I think he's a classic or standard American Bully. They come in different sizes. I can do again, I can talk about that later on, but I lost my train of thought. Yes, I saw the American Bullies at a pet expo, fell in love with the breed, did research on it, found the breeder that was close to me through a high school friend, and yeah, this is how I ended up with him. And I chose the breed firstly based on looks, which is horrible, don't do that. But as I did further research into the breed, I actually really like their personalities. I underestimated how stubborn this breed is. Conan is an extremely stubborn dog. He likes to have his own way. He will watch me in my face when I tell him to do something and do the exact opposite. He's kind of like a belligerent teenager, but a really sweet and goofy one at the same time. So I guess it somehow works out. I've also found, because I'm part of a couple American Bully groups on Facebook, and kind of the majority vote is that they can be extremely hard to train. I found this especially with potty training. He is just over 1 year old, and we are still not fully potty trained, which is incredibly annoying because my girls were super easy to potty train, and then I now have Conan. So I mean, it is what it is, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, so again, that was a really long spiel about why I chose the breed. But the next question is, what is his favorite food? Conan will eat anything that you put in front of him, whether it's food or not. So literally anything. If I had to say what his absolute favorite food is, it would probably be the puppuccinos from Starbucks, which is literally just a cup full of whipped cream. He goes crazy for those, so definitely that. His favorite game to play is fetch, which usually doesn't end well because he eats the ball. So I think we've gone through, I want to say, at least 45 different types of balls with Conan, because you throw it and he will go to the ends of the earth to catch it, and then he does not give it back, and he just wants to sit there and eat it. But if you can get the ball away from him, you can throw it all day long and he will always go for it, which is really, really fun. He's also a super athletic dog, so I love watching him run. He's just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, a variation of fetch is his favorite game to play. What's our favorite thing to do together? I love taking him on car rides. He travels really, really well. I think out of my 3, he probably travels the best, and it has a lot to do with his size. He can sit in the front seat of my car. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. But he can sit in the front seat of my car in my truck, and he loves the car. It's really fun to drive around with him. He'll put his little head out of the window, or he's always looking out of the window regardless, and he travels really, really well. So taking him on car rides is definitely my favorite thing to do with him. Where's your favorite place to go? At the moment, it is Starbucks for his puppuccino. I go to Starbucks pretty much daily, and I tend to take him with me so he can get his daily fix of Starbucks as well. So yeah, that's definitely our favorite place to go right now. A bad habit. I can't even count how many bad habits he has. Like, it's insane. I think the worst habit he has right now is potty training. It irritates my soul that this dog is not like fully potty trained, and he knows, I shouldn't say that he's not potty trained, he knows to go outside, and he can go probably about a solid month without having an accident, and we keep the same routine, same food, everything. He can go about a month without having an accident, and then honestly one night he'll just decide he doesn't want to hold it, or for whatever reason, and that's that, and it is what it is. So like I said, I shouldn't say he's not potty trained. He's just potty trained to the extent that he wants to be potty trained. Another bad habit is that he eats everything. He, especially when it comes to toys, he's eaten a couple toy rubber tires, pieces of a Kong, entire stuffed bears, but miraculously he always passes them through, so he always either poops them out or throws them up, which is great but gross at the same time. And yeah, I think those are the 2 worst habits that he has. The best thing about him is how goofy he is. Literally, there's not a day that goes by that this dog does not make me laugh. He is absolutely hilarious, and he's so full of love, but honestly, like, his general demeanor, he's just a massive goofball. Like, he lives his best life. He doesn't look like it right now because he's sitting perfectly still, which never happens, ever. Like, this is a very well-behaved Conan, which happens once in a blue moon. I think it's because he's watching the cars drive by. But yeah. So the best thing about him, he's a goofball. It's great. The naughtiest thing he's ever done. I don't think he's ever done anything that's like super horrible. Like, I know the naughtiest thing Arizona's ever done was eaten drywall. He's never pulled anything like that. Yeah. You do like minor things, but not insanely horrible things. I'm trying to think here. The naughtiest thing you've ever done. Oh, when he was a puppy, he pooped on his sister's bed, which was not very nice. But he was a smaller. Technically, he still is a puppy, but I think he was maybe 7 or 8 months at the time. He got off his bed and went and pooped on his sister's bed. So that's probably the naughtiest thing you've ever done. The funniest memory with him. Every time he Supermans himself onto the couch. So I'm sure you guys have seen in my vlogs how Sarabi can just kind of put her head over the back of my couch because she's a Great Dane and she's tall. Well, Conan gets really jealous when she does that. So what he'll do is he will get a running start and he will just like Superman jump onto the couch. And he clears it every single time. It's hilarious every time he does it. And it's so naughty. Like, he should not be allowed to do it, but it's great. Like, it's so comical the way that he does it, and he's so proud of himself when he does it. I can't get mad at him. So that's definitely the funniest thing he does. What is the hardest thing about owning him? Oh my gosh. Oh, my foot is falling asleep. Yeah. Okay, so the hardest thing about owning Conan. Oh, are you gonna move now? Are you leaving? No, come here. You're doing so good. Come here. Come here. You're gonna get angry. Wait, there you go. Jeez. I'm gonna stand there. Okay. The hardest thing about owning Conan is definitely just how stubborn he is, and how difficult to train he is. Everything is done on his terms. We are working on it slowly but surely. It's definitely a work in progress. There's no easy fix with this dog. He's very food motivated, but at the same time, I would argue that food motivation does not equate to obedience. So his obedience training is really lacking, and that's probably the hardest part about owning him, is just getting that training under our belt. So yeah. Would I recommend the breed? I saw this question and I just broke out laughing. Would I recommend the American Bully breed? The short answer, No, but wait, not. I shouldn't say that. I would recommend the breed to somebody who has dog experience. This is definitely not a dog that I would say should be a first-time pet owner's dog. I'm sure, and again, I'm only going off of my experience with my one American Bully. So I'm going off of the assumption that if every American Bully out there was like Conan, I would say do not get it if it's your first dog. If Conan was my first dog, I don't think I'd ever own a dog ever again, which sounds horrible, but it's true. They're really stubborn. They're really stubborn dogs, and they will tear your whole house apart and just give you nothing but a headache if you are not prepared and mentally equipped to deal with this type of dog. They can also be dangerous because they are so powerful. So if they're not trained to a point and they're not socialized to a certain point, you can have a real troublemaker and liability on your hands. So I would say, you know, do your research, be very cautious. If you're thinking of getting an American Bully, make sure you get them from a reputable breeder, and try and get as much information about the parents as possible. That's something that I lacked on. I should have asked for way more information on his parents. I knew a fair bit about his dad, but definitely not as much as I should have known about his mom, and I'm kind of paying for that now, but again, it's fine. Health-wise, I would recommend them. Like, he is a sturdy dog. He can take a hit and keep on coming. The only real issue that I've had with Conan is, one, his sensitive stomach, but that could be just very specific to him. And ear infections. He is prone to ear infections, but his ears are cropped, so they're really easy to clean. But yeah, he's a really hardy dog. There's not a lot that phases this dog. He's so playful. He's been really well socialized since I got him. I got him at 10 weeks. He's the only dog out of my 3 that I trust to play with my nephew and my godkids. That's not to say that Arizona and Strawberry are bad dogs, but their size and their level of seriousness makes me weary about playing with my godkids and my nephew all the time. Conan, because he's got such a great sense of humor and he's such a goofball and he's so forgiving, like, he's great with them. They can run and play with him all day long and he'll be right in the middle of it, and he's just awesome. That's probably one of the best things about him. He's great with kids. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of Conan. Like, this is my dog. I love him to bits and pieces. He knows how to push my buttons like it's his job, and he does a very good job of it. But I literally don't think that I could picture my life without this dog. It'd be really boring and very dull if I didn't have Conan with me. He's a really good friend, and just, like, I don't know, he's an awesome dog. For all the trouble that he causes me, he really is an awesome dog. He's my most expensive dog out of the 3, and he's the one who gives me the most heartache, but I absolutely adore him. So that's so welcome back to my basement. I hope you guys enjoyed meeting my American Bully Conan. He's actually really well behaved for that portion of the video, and I'm shocked. Came back inside because it is way cooler in my basement than it is outside. So yeah, now for the part that I'm sure most of you have been waiting for, and that is the book recommendations based off of Conan's personality. I have 2 recommendations for you. The first one being My Lady Jane by the Lady Janies. This book is probably as hilarious as Conan is. This book is a book that literally had me laughing pretty much from the first page onward. The Lady Janies do historical fiction retellings so well. I was not expecting this book to be as funny as it was, especially because I went into it really apprehensive because it's such a thick book, and I ended up reading it on my Kindle. So I do need to get a hardcover copy of it, or a physical copy of it, because it's so amazing and I do want to have it in my collection. But it's essentially about, it's a remix on the 9-Day Queen. So it takes place during the Tudor era, and it's just, I can't even really go into what it's about because you're not going to believe me if I tell you what it's about. I'll give you a couple examples. There's a man that turns into a horse, and he can only be a man at nighttime. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you can stomach that. There's also someone who turns into an eagle but doesn't know that they can turn into an eagle until they do. So there's a lot of shape shifting in the book. It's absolutely hilarious. I went into it not knowing anything about it, and I think that's the best way to do it. You've got those little tidbits of information. Just know you are in for probably the funniest ride you've ever had while reading a historical fiction book at that. So I was thoroughly pleased with my Lady Janes, and there are 2 other books in the Lady Janey series. That is My Plain Jane and My Calamity Jane, which I think recently came out, so make sure you check those 2 out as well. And the second book that I wanted to recommend to you guys is actually Pippi Longstocking, which is a children's classic that I recently read, and everything about that book just screams Conan. Pippi Longstocking is an absolute goofball. She is extremely stubborn. She has to have everything her own way, very hard-headed, but also very loving and caring, and she honestly goes through every single day the best way that she knows how, and she lives her best life, so to speak, and that is the literal definition of my dog. So I honestly think that if Pippi Longstocking were to be written about a dog, it would be Conan. So I literally can't recommend that book enough. So I actually have such nostalgia for Pippi Longstocking. It was a show that I loved growing up. My dad actually used to call me Pippi Longstocking when I was younger. So being able to finally read the children's classic was just so heartwarming. And again, it's the literal literature embodiment of my dog. So definitely go and check that out if you haven't yet. And that pretty much sums up this video. Next week, you guys will get the pet that I think majority of you have been waiting for, and the pet that I am most dreading to film with, and that is my Great Dane. So next week, you guys will finally get to meet Miss Sarabi. Definitely stay tuned for that video because I'm sure it'll be entertaining in some respect. So yeah, that sums it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.